Hey, what's up guys? I hope you're all fantastic out there today. I have a fun little movie to talk about with you guys. It's a movie that delivers both world-class laughs and MVP-level basketball moves. It's a blend of buddy comedy and street ball from the mind of Ron Shelton. I'm of course referring to the 1992 hit White Man Can't Jump, starring Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, and Rosie Perez.
Billy.
Shut up!
Billy, listen to me.
What?
White men can't jump.
White Man Can't Jump was written and directed by Ron Shelton, who at the time only had a couple directing credits under his belt. One of them, however, though, was the successful Kevin Costner baseball flick Bull Durham. So capturing sports with a cinematic eye and a structure built for storytelling was already a strong suit for him. When speaking on this movie, Shelton said he actually had the title first before he wrote anything down, and with that he wrote the first 37 pages in a single night before coming to a grinding halt. He said he was just stumped on what to do with Gloria's character. Not wanting her arc to be defined by the men in the film, Shelton was in a bit of a creative stump until he overheard someone referring to their friend's dream of making it on the TV game show Jeopardy, and with that, at that second, he knew where to take her character, and the script was then complete. But as I said, Shelton was already familiar with sports movies. He knew that even more important than a good script for a basketball movie was that its stars actually were able to play basketball. So from there, the hunt for his two leads began. Before even letting the actors read for the part, Shelton would hold pickup games to see who had on-the-court skills to pull these roles off. Charlie Sheen was actually the first choice for Billy Hoyle. He was a hot star at the time with Major League on his resume. It was already clear he did have the athleticism for the role, only Sheen wasn't a basketball fan and he felt it wouldn't be that much fun for him, so he passed. And outside of Sheen, and according to Snipes, everybody is anybody really wanted to be in this movie, so there were a lot of players there. Even Keanu Reeves, who was hot off a Point Break the year earlier, came in and gave it a shot, but despite his high level of effort and determination, he just wasn't a very good basketball player. According to Shelton, David Duchovny was also in consideration, but Woody Harrelson would rise above them all to land this part, and I think he's perfect as Billy Hoyle.
You know something? This is like the luck of the Irish, only I'm not Irish, so you figure it out. I don't know.
Now as for his fast-talking buddy Sidney Dean, veteran actor Philip Morris auditioned for the role. The studio really did want Denzel Washington, but despite a weak jump shot, Shelton felt that Wesley Snipes was his man. He felt Snipes' swagger, trash-talking, and chemistry with Harrelson was more than enough to compensate for his lack of shooting skills to pull off both sides of this character, and with that, Shelton had his two leads.
Hell no. I ain't playing with that son of a bitch.
In Shelton's script, the character of Gloria was originally intended to be an upper-middle-class white girl from the South, but after being referred to Rosie Perez, she came in to read for the part, and Shelton said he knew immediately he had the final piece to this film, and Rosie Perez would become Billy Hoyle's fiery girlfriend, Gloria Clemente.
You know I love you and everything, but I ain't getting shot over your dead.
My dead are dead.
Well, who's ever fucking dead? I ain't getting shot for nobody.
I just think...
Once completed, White Man Can't Jump was released on March 27th, 1992. With a budget of $30 million, the film would take in more than $14.7 million on its opening weekend to finish #1 at the box office, knocking off Sharon Stone's Basic Instinct. It was #1 for 2 weeks in a row, and it would remain top 5 in the box office for 8 weeks to finish out with more than $90 million worldwide to cement itself as a hit.
Hey, baby, let me tell you something. I don't mean to brag, but I'm the greatest. I am the greatest.
And I think this movie really thrived by coming out when the NBA was riding at full steam. Michael Jordan and the Bulls were in the playoffs and just on their way to a second title. The NBA Dream Team had already been announced, and they were only weeks away from just stealing the attention of the world during their gold medal summer at the Olympics. So basketball fever was at an all-time high, and this movie was really the perfect addition to that momentum. But don't get me wrong, basketball fever may have brought some attention to White Man Can't Jump, but it being being a fantastic movie is what brought people back. It's what generated all the positive word of mouth. I watched this movie at least 3 or 4 times that summer, and I would practice all the moves in this movie on the courts as a teen. I think it just builds an inviting atmosphere that makes you want to be a part of it. It's a blend of LA vibes and street ball, woven into a fresh story with vibrant, appealing characters and charismatic music and just endless waves of hilarious dialogue and amusing situations. I think White Man Can't Jump, in my opinion, really is the basketball equivalent to what Major League pulled off in terms of just creating a world-class sports comedy that has a timeless appeal. The plot certainly is an illogical collection of pieces that just seem made for one another once they blend together. Billy and Gloria are on the run from the Stuckey brothers after Billy failed to throw a game for some mobsters. Gloria's an avid reader. She consumes random facts and has a dream of competing on the TV game show Jeopardy, so they head out to LA and Billy begins hustling on the street courts to make money so that they can pay the Stuckeys back. Billy hits the Venice Beach courts. He runs into the quick-tongued Sidney Dean, and after Billy hustles Sidney, he sees a financial opportunity. Sidney and Billy team up to work the LA courts by using Billy's unassuming presence as a means for hustling their money from their opponents. And really, from there, the comical adventure takes over, and even all of these years later, White Man Can't Jump is just one of those movies that can pull you in anytime you sit down and start watching more than 5 minutes of it.
Raymond, man, look at the chump, man. Give him the chump.
You mean play basketball?
No, we mean ice hockey. Get your tied butt up here, Gretzky.
And I think it's understated that the music in this movie is amazing. It's like its own character in this story. It creates a mood and it gets the energy up from the opening minute with the introduction by the Venice Beach Boys. It just creates a lighthearted atmosphere that blends with the comical timing and the natural chemistry between Snipes and Harrelson, which is just a treat in this movie. Their rapport is authentic, and either one can close out the punchline throughout this film. Snipes or Harrelson will be setting up the joke, the other will be knocking it out of the park, and the flow between them just makes their friendship feel real as it grows throughout the story. Plus, I think it adds a lot of depth and direction from the comedic delivery.
You motherfucking Christopher
Gobble
Columbus.
this, turkey.
Hey, yo, motherfucker, I got a gun in my hand. What the fuck's wrong with you? Shoot this motherfucker.
They're a complete odd couple with really only basketball being the commonality between them, but the layers of their friendship builds onto that nicely during this movie, and it makes these guys so connectable. But I mean, they both could play basketball too, which was a must, because seeing all the banter and the trash talking between them while on the court, while playing basketball without a series of cuts or edits is what makes it feel like you're on the court with these guys. And according to Snipes, he said they played ball all day, every day. He said he studied a lot of tapes of Nate Tiny Archibald to hone his skill and his style of play. Snipes said that that would go on for 6 days a week to iron out Shelton's playbook to make the moves not look too choreographed. And even after shooting, Snipes said that Shelton would leave the cameras rolling and would tell them to play to win, and it allegedly resulted in some fierce competition, and I'm assuming plenty of visually appealing footage for the final cut of the film.
And I don't need no one else.
Because I think when you watch this movie, they don't really feel like actors. They feel like real, true street ballers. I think it allows the movie to capture the atmosphere of the subculture perfectly. White Man Can't Jump just blends basketball, humor, and storytelling about as well as you could hope. The movie kicks off in Venice Beach. It just sets the tone, and it keeps a nice flow as it works through all its tightly crafted but surprisingly endearing subplots. I think the opening act is easily one of my favorites as Snipes and Harrelson posture with one another. Yo mama jokes are being thrown out, insults and bravado are just spilling off the screen, and seeing them use Billy's whiteness as a decoy to win money later on in the movie is a riot. I mean, the scene where Raymond goes to get his gun is hilarious. He's like, fuck it, and people are fleeing in all different directions, which says this is not a dude to be taken lightly. And when you look at it, I mean, Billy's character is one that can never get out of his own way. No scene represents that better than the dunk bet between him and Sydney. I think it's a quiet but very pivotal moment in the film that I think Snipes and Harrelson certainly make the most of. It's a smart scene that kind of encapsulates the entire movie in a few minutes, and I think that was something that really thrived in this script. It was simply clever and self-aware from start to finish. I mean, how can you not love watching Gloria have her day on Jeopardy? It's such a feel-good moment after seeing all the work and the dedication that she put into it. You know how bad she wants it. You can see how much Billy and Sydney want it for her in the crowd. It's just a completely random moment, but just equally perfect as a little segue before getting into the just high-tension finality that I think Shelton really just sets up and executes perfectly. Sydney experiences a break-in in his house. He needs to get his family out to safety. Billy, after a ton of mishaps, we see him on firm ground finally in his relationship with Gloria. But the legendary streetball duo of the King and Duck are in town. Dean needs the money to help his family, and since he helped Gloria get on Jeopardy, Billy is all in to help his friend. I think Shelton is able to seamlessly bring it back to basketball while also using the moment to solidify the bond between Sydney and Billy, while also reiterating Gloria's line earlier in the film.
Sometimes when you win, you really lose. And sometimes when you lose, you really win.
I think the final showdown on the court is such a satisfying closing for this story. It's tightly crafted with excellent choreography. It's just riveting from one play to the next. The use of music and Shelton's direction infused this already big game with even more drama and even higher stakes. It's just a crowning achievement for two random guys that become brothers. I think so much emotion that could easily feel cheesy or too melodramatic, but in the hands of Shelton, Snipes, Harrelson, and Perez, White Men Can't Jump is a movie that never loses sight of its sense of humor or its self-awareness. And that's it for today, guys. That's my look back at White Men Can't Jump. It's a nostalgic favorite of mine. I have no doubt I'll be watching this movie routinely until the day I die. The remake is coming out. I'm being cautiously optimistic, but whether it succeeds or not, the original will always entertain and always be regarded as one of the best sports comedies of all time.